Spingola Speaks, and this is Deanna Spingola coming to you from the suburbs of Chicago. I really appreciate you joining me today on RBN. RBN's website is republicbroadcasting.org. To see the guest lineup and relevant links for this program, please visit Spingola.com. There you will see the names of all the guests that I've had on the program since October 23rd, 2010, as well as links to their websites. Just visit my website and click on the radio schedule button. Please also visit SpingolaSpeaks.info for links and files. One of our very talented listeners established this site to augment information not found elsewhere. During the program, email your questions or comments to comment@Spingola.com. Join others in the chat room by clicking on the chat room button on my website, Spingola.com, or by going to Spingola.chatango.com. We will take calls in the second hour when I open the phone lines at 800-313-9443. Our guest today is Tony Pantalleresco. That's Pantalleresco. His website is augmentinforce.50webs.com. Augmentinforce, all one word, .50, the numeral 50, webs.com. So, do we have Tony on the line?
You do. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm here.
Good. I see you have a new video up, which talks about smart meters in Arizona, and I watched that this morning. Okay. And smart meters is a really big concern for a lot of people. I know that just recently I received a note from somebody in California that is very concerned about the smart meters going in out there. And, of course, I think a lot of people are very concerned. What is your is there any kind of protection that we can use to counter the radiation?
Everybody should be concerned with this thing because it's part of a three-way system. I mean, you're exposed to chemtrails, which inundate your body with polymers and biofilm. You're eating genetics, which bind with the chemtrails, and then these smart meters activate these things while you're sleeping. So, yeah, you definitely need to take a stand. Some things you can do, you can shield yourselves by building shielding measures in where you sleep. Cutting off your power supply to your homes, making sure your computers with your Wi-Fi systems and your radio frequency devices are turned off and disconnected. These are things you must do if you want to eliminate any frequencies. You have to understand as well, the problem is not just your home, but your neighbors as well. Your neighbors have their smart meters on, which amplify the signals, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, this is when they're at their climax. A lot of you are not sleeping between 2 and 4 a.m. At 3 o'clock a.m. is when the pitch is at its worst, when the signals are at their strongest, and they cause a lot of problems. A lot of people come to me and ask me for sleep aids. The biggest thing I will tell you to use is niacinamide, form of B3, and combine that with almost anything, really. GABA, glycine, tryptophan, 5-HTP, taurine. These things will help and work together and helping you with the sleep. But usually, even with these things, when these things are pulsing at 3 a.m., it'll wake you up out of a sound sleep. So again, you may want to, again, build some shielding, meshing. One of the things you can do is run a humidifier and add either iodine or silver or both into the humidifier or essential oils. This will produce a mist or moisture content in the air, which will deflect and diffuse some of the signals that are getting through. Any copper or aluminum meshing that you can put into the room, in your bedroom, or anything of that nature will block a lot of the transmissions. You're not going to completely eliminate it as long as your neighbors are also not are aware. Because you got to remember, it's a concentration of several signals that you're dealing with, not just your own. So this is a concern. Everybody in the United States and Canada should be at arms on this stuff. These things have actually burned down people's homes. There was a home in Victoria where they had to put these meters on there, and the backing plate wasn't removed and replaced with a new one. And the technology didn't mix. The meter actually heated the backing plate, and the place caught on fire. Then the electrical company or the hydro company refused to take blame for the error that they made. These things are not safe. They're dangerous. They're a form of spyware, actually, and they are, again, they're hooked up into your homes for that reason as well. They offer no real benefit to anybody. They're a health hazard. They've turned your homes into radio broadcasting places, which technically you need a license to receive and transfer information in the airwaves. So there's a lot, and again, there are health concerns because while you're being pulsed, your DNA is being altered again through these frequencies.
Wow. Now you say this happens at 3 a.m. Now what if you live in a neighborhood where they have not installed the smart meters and you still wake up at 3 a.m.? I mean, I know somebody that does that and there are no smart meters.
Well, you got towers. You still have towers around you and you still are being harped. I mean, take a walk on the wild side sometime. Go out at 3 a.m. and take a look up in the sky and watch them chemtrail you at nighttime, and then they start spreading those chemtrails. I just got back from Calgary, Alberta, and during the day you really don't see a whole lot of activity until around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That's when you start seeing the chemtrail activity become more predominant. And at dusk, just as the sun goes down, that's when you really start seeing the heavy overlaying in that area. Where I live, I mean, it's all the time. Last week, there was so much chemtrail activity that people were contacting the radio network here in Windsor to ask why we're being sprayed so heavily. So you're still going to get that no matter where you live. You've got towers, you've got radio frequencies, you've people with Wi-Fi's in their homes, with computers. This is all part of the same kind of network. So even if they don't have the smart meter per se, you are still going to get inundated with these frequencies. We're no longer living in the days of innocence, as I would put it. People are complaining about tinnitus. I had a lady from Australia write to me about a woman who had tinnitus. I said she doesn't have tinnitus. What she's getting, that ringing of the ears, is the fact that you're picking up on those frequencies. I don't truly believe that there was ever such a thing as tinnitus. I think just based on what I'm seeing today, what was happening back in those days is people were picking up on the frequencies that were being installed through AM and FM radio, and towers that were being put in those areas, and people were picking up on it, and they were misdiagnosed as having tinnitus. And what they were actually hearing was the humming and the pitching and the buzzing of these frequencies, because people are hearing that today.
Right. Now, Dr. Stanley Milgram talks about dirty electricity, and he actually recommends filters that you can put in your outlets. You can test your outlets to see if dirty electricity is coming into your home, and you can install a filter that prevents that. And there are also filters that you can put in your home that are supposed to protect your entire house from these frequencies. Have you ever investigated any of those things?
Dirty electricity is AC, so I don't really see how these filters are going to work completely. I think they may neutralize or cut some of it down, but you have to understand it's a amplification of these frequencies. It's not just your home. Okay, let's say you're living in a townhouse complex where those things are all connected, so they amplify everybody else's exposure.
Tony, we do have to go to a quick break. We'll be right back in 3 minutes. Sorry to interrupt. Be right back. Welcome back. Excuse me, this is Deanna. Our guest today is Tony Pantalleresco. His website is augmentinforce.50webs.com. And you mentioned before that we should turn off all Wi-Fi, and you also said to unplug them. Correct?
Yes, definitely. I mean, okay, when I go to bed at night, when I shut down my computer, I unplug my modems, I unplug my Wi-Fi's, I shut off all the power to these systems. If you have that in your house, you need to shut them down. One guy went as far as shutting off the power to his home just to make sure that there was no transmission capacity to going to the home. Those people are having problems sleeping, either sleep low in the basement areas if you have a basement. Sleep up in the roof. There's absolutely no shielding in the roof unless you've got a aluminized ceiling or copper mesh barriers that you put in to eliminate any harping or any radio transmissions coming from towers or from your neighbor's home. Like I said, it is a combination of things, not just one thing. The way it works is really simple. I mean, if you put it in the simplest terms, I shouldn't say really simple, but putting it in the simplest terms, you are exposed to high levels of metals from the chemtrails. You're absorbing them through the skin. You're absorbing them in your diet. I mean, the organics and the conventional foods are being sprayed with nanosilver. Nanosilver is an extremely toxic metal in the body. What it does is, there are marketers selling this stuff as an all-out, all and be-all healant. What happens is this gets into your cellular DNA and into your brain tissues and lungs, and it starts to sit there and stops the body's capacity to repair itself. And
Tony, let me ask you, are you referring to colloidal silver here?
Not colloidal silver, nanosilver. There's a difference.
Okay.
Difference. Okay. Colloidal silver I would encourage. Nanosilver I would discourage.
Okay.
Okay, there is a huge difference. There are marketers selling nanosilver as, like I said, the end-all, be-all. But what that is, when that gets inside of you, that lodges itself in your system. Colloidal silver gets excreted out. What happens is that silver acts as a conductive material in your body, making you a transceiver. So when these frequencies are hitting your body, they amplify those signals. You got to remember the chemtrails also have silicates in it, which also amplify the signals. They have aluminum in them. They have cadmium. They have a whole host of other metals that act as conductors. So when you are around a smart meter or a Wi-Fi, these things get amplified in your body, which starts breaking down your DNA and RNA. So again, when you're looking at these things, they're actually adding nanosilver, nano gold to the chemtrails so they can control the patterns and shapes of the chemtrails. So you are breathing that in. So avoid nanosilver. If someone's trying to sell you a nanosilver product, I don't think it's coming from a real health source. It may be coming from the other side, as I always put it.
Okay. I want to make a quick correction. I said it was Stanley Milgram. I meant Samuel Milham. Stanley Milgram's another guy that had nothing whatsoever to do with frequency or electricity. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No problem. So anyway, one of the things you can do to fortify yourself, make yourself more resistant to this, is using saturated fat. Saturated fats acts as a protectant to the cells, acts as a protectant to the cellular communication. Myelin sheet, you might want to even use wheat germ oil for this as well. You may find if there's any kind of deterioration going on, that this will reinforce and rebuild your system, because again, your body is being pounded with a lot of different frequencies. You have no idea from the moment you get into your car, especially the newer cars, that have these frequencies pumping through them. Going into a subway, going into some donut shop that may have a Wi-Fi system, shopping malls that have these networks set up inside for security. I mean, you're constantly being inundated. Even your school kids at school going to their classes where they have computers and things, they're using Wi-Fis, again, to transfer data. There have been studies where kids have gone to school and gotten sick as a result of these frequencies that they're being hit with. So you have no idea truly how much even your cell phone is constantly pumping smart meter type frequencies. Smart meters actually are 9,000 times stronger than your cell phones, and in your house they're pumping between 90,000 to 140,000 pulses a day. So this is what you're up against.
Wow. Oh my goodness, that is something. And then of course they want to exacerbate the whole thing by putting a smart meter on your home. And getting back to turning off Wi-Fi, unplugging it and all of that, well, that does seem like a wonderful idea. And, of course, you shouldn't have any electrical products in your bedroom, or at least not within 6 feet of you. Correct?
That's an idealistic thing. I mean, people need their clocks to wake them up in the morning and things of this thing. I would minimize as much exposure as I would in your bedroom. Any meshing or any barriers that you would put up would be, again, idealistic to do. I would do it. I've got meshes along the walls of my bedroom. I've got a humidifier that I run at night, again, in my room to create a moisture barrier in the room to disperse these signals. You can actually vaporize them even more by running a space heater on one end and a humidifier on the other end, and run for about an hour before you go to bed and shut off the space heater. You'll vaporize the air very densely, so then that in and of itself can create a barrier. They're selling stuff now where you can put a canopy over your bed, which is basically an aluminized copper mesh, which again disperses and breaks up the signals that may get through.
What about aluminum siding on your home?
It should offer some protection, but again, you got to remember, you are not just dealing with your home. You have to keep in mind, okay, if you're in a neighborhood and you've got smart meters, it's a consolidation and a concentration of those meters that you're dealing with. So you may have to take added measures. Let's say you've got a neighbor that's completely oblivious to what's going on. That has no clue. Okay, and you're putting up all the barriers, and your neighbors are not doing anything, or not, shutting off their power, and they're letting it run. You're still going to get that. A lot that's still going to get through to your home. This is why it's important to put some kind of barriers or whatever you can, even internally. Shutting off your grid or your internal grid will minimize, again, some of the exposure, but you're still going to get it. You have to remember, you've got towers around you as well. You've got, they're harping you at nighttime. I've walked the streets at nighttime going to my apartment between 2 and 3 a.m., and I look up in the sky, and I'm seeing them laying layers of clouds up above at 3 o'clock in the morning. And they're harping those clouds. And if you're up on the second floor, and a lot of people will attest to this, they wake up the next day and they feel like somebody drove over their bodies with a Mack truck. Their knees are sore, their ankles are sore, their lower back is sore, their shoulders are sore. They've changed their mattresses and they've done everything they know to do, and they're still feeling pain. And again, what's happening is that the roof offers no protection whatsoever when they start harping. And again, if there's some towers around you, that's going to also amplify those signals. So you're going to get hit with it. So you have to do as much as you can to protect yourself. I have found that if you sleep in the lower levels, what happens is you've got at least 2 layers above you where that has to go through, which will offset that tremendously. Again, that's what I have found anyway.
What about earthing sheets or grounding sheets? Are those at all beneficial?
They will discharge whatever you're building up in your system, but you still may feel the effects.
Okay. We're going to be back in 3 minutes after a word from our sponsors. His website is augmentinforce.50webs.com. You mentioned HARP, and we often think, well, HARP is, they built HARP to generate earthquakes, tsunamis, tornadoes, and to alter the weather. But you're suggesting a more subtle, continuous use against all of us all the time. Is that what you're saying?
I wouldn't say it's subtle.
Okay. If we don't know about it, then it might be subtle.
I mean, when you sit there and think about the level of microwave exposure on a daily basis, I wouldn't call that subtle. It's destroying your DNA. It's destroying your genetic makeup. It's breaking down your immune system. It's, like I said, you've got particulates inside your body that these things will resonate with and amplify or be used to create more issues with you. I mean, when you're talking changing the weather or aerosoling the sky, and you're microwaving that on a daily basis, I would not call that subtle.
Okay.
That's flagrant. I mean, the thing is, you're so used to hearing all the sensational crap about Fukushima or a war going on over here or some kind of earthquake over there or some political upheaval going on that, you think of this in a very minor way, but this is very major. It's more major than all the things that you're watching, because this is going on a daily basis. But because it's going on so regularly, you just think, you take it as an everyday occurrence without much thought anymore because you've been desensitized to it.
And we might even think, oh, it's just something I'm not doing right. I'm not eating enough of this or enough of that. I'm not taking the right supplements. We attribute it to something we're doing rather than something that's being done to us.
There you go, and it's exactly the issue. I mean, a lot of the stuff that's being sold today, even in the health food industry, is based on false marketing practices, and they got people misled on a lot of things. I just mentioned nano silver, that you're advertising colloidal silver, and that's about the strength you're going to need to fight some of these pathogens that are 500 parts per million. And I've done a video on colloidal silver. I've been attacked, and you have no idea how I've been attacked on that one, because I show people how to make their own silver at up to 500 parts. I was actually showing somebody yesterday how to make it. The point is, the things that really do work are being buried with things that do not. And then there's been a lot of what I call makeup marketing to sort of cover up a lot of things so that it sounds good and it seems good, and then you buy the stuff and it actually is working against your system. I want to point out something, if I can.
Absolutely.
If you look at my script of the show for October 2013 and you click on the October 26th script, you will see a link there called Radio Wave Illnesses. Okay, and these are the end result of all the frequencies that you're being exposed to, and some of the symptoms that this stuff will cause. The link is wide and broad spectrum on all the different things that's happening as a result of the exposure to not only to the harping, the smart meters, the towers. If you're working in a warehouse or a factory and they have radio frequencies, which is another form of frequency exposure, this also has a breaking down effect on the people. If you ever ride on the subway that's run by electricity, there are times when you'll be hitting certain points or plateaus in these trains where you fall asleep, or you find all of a sudden you're getting woozy and knocking out because, again, of the frequencies that this is promoting, the electromagnetic frequencies that these things produce, which shows sometimes, again, the level of material that's in your body that this stuff is amplifying. So again, when we're talking smart meter, we're talking chemtrails, we're talking HARP, we're talking, genetics. This is a consortium of an attack it's a threefold attack. One is you're being exposed with the stuff in the sky, loading yourself up with metals and polymers and biofilm. Then you're eating GMOs, which have, again, nano silver sprayed on them. Then you're being hit with a frequency device within your own homes, or again with the exposure of your cell phones or computers or whatever, which actually amplify and modulate these things and actually turn some of these things on inside your body, which then causes you to break down on all kinds of levels. And there's a lot of references and research to validate what I'm saying. So again, this is why so many people are suffering from all kinds of issues, from intestinal disorders, aches and pains in their bodies, the fibromyalgia issues that are going on, the digestive disorders, the bowel disruptions that are going on because the intestines bacteria is being flushed out and new forms of bacteria being put inside that doesn't belong there. Respiratory issues are happening because, again, a lot of fats that the body people are using, a lot of them are using so much omega-3 that they're actually oxidizing themselves further inside the body, where they need more saturated fat to protect their bodies, to maintain cellular integrity and RNA integrity. So there's a lot that's going on, and there's been a lot of sabotage within even the health food industry in regard to some of the things that are being sold today.
Speaking of that, I had a lady on 3 weeks ago talking about magnesium stearate, which is an additive. What are your views on that?
You know what? You can't get around it. It is just basically a form of magnesium. Again, they've hyped up a lot of this on there. Again, whether or not that's going to be the real problem, I don't believe that's the issue. I think what's more the issue in supplements today are the polymers they're putting inside of them, the cross-carbamylase and some of the other cellulose stuff that they're putting in these things. These are polymers that do not break down in the body, which bind with the genetics and with the chemtrails. So again, I don't encourage anyone buying any caplet or tablet form. There are some exceptions with enzymes and certain things like this that do not have those components mixed with them. If it doesn't have these things in there, any form of cellulose, or hemicellulose, or cross-carbamylose, or waxes, sometimes we're even putting waxes in some of these things. And we're talking health food stuff now. We're not talking drugstore brand. You have to understand that the drug industry, or the pharmaceutical industry, has been slowly taking over the health food industry and has been compromising a lot of these supplements. They've been sabotaging them, if you will. So a lot of these things, again, I tell people all the time, when you're buying capsules, for instance, that have fats in them, like MCT fats or even primrose oil, or if you're buying an omega-3, which again or 369, which I don't encourage because a lot of them are fish oil based, which are very carcinogenic. Cut off the capsule, suck out the inside, and throw away the capsule. You will actually feel that capsule, and it will feel like a plastic or a polymer. That does not break down.
Ah, okay. So what about krill oil? You're regarding fish.
I'm not a fan of omega-3s in that regard. All the fish that you're getting, all this krill, omega-3 fish, salmon, or whatever, it's all loaded with arsenic and mercury. And they're not telling you this. And they're telling you, well, they're distilling it. But if they distilled it, then they've heated it. So the omega-3 is dead before you even get it. If you're going to use an omega-3, you're best off either grinding a flaxseed oil and extracting the oil from that, rather than buying anything you're selling in the market. None of that stuff is of any value. The Canadian government actually tested all the fish oil products, did not find one that did not have mercury in it or arsenic. So again, I wouldn't buy, and this was done years ago, I would not, they don't have the credibility, not in my mind anyway, and I don't see any need for them. I think in this country, in the United States and Canada, if you're eating butter that's coming from a grass-fed cow, you're going to get 13 times more omega-3 than you're going to get from any fish oil without the mercury or the arsenic. You'd be further off going that way. You're going to get CLA in that. You're going to get vitamin D in that. You're going to get vitamin E in that. So I don't see why I would want to buy anything coming from outside sources. We're buying fish oils that you're buying are basically a byproduct or a waste product that's being sold in the health food industry as a health food, just like they did with soy, just like they did with canola oil, and now the latest craze is pea protein, which is no different than your soy protein, which as far as estrogens are concerned, and on a low BB rating. But this is how they're doing a sleight of hand thing. Everyone's against soy now, so now they're going to sell you pea protein, which is an inferior protein. And again, I wouldn't give it to anybody because again, it'll have the same goitrogenic effect on the thyroid. It'll have the same pancreatic effect on the pancreas. Again, it's highly estrogenic, and it's a lousy protein to begin with. So again, this is catering to the vegans who think they're getting something really good, but really it's more self-destructive in this regard. Wow.
Getting back to colloidal silver, you have a video. You said that, and you taught somebody how to make it yesterday. So you don't need to go out and buy a $400 generator to make it?
No, not at all. Easy that is to make. We were if you boil some water, I'll show you how to make it. It's right on the air. It's real simple. Boil some water. Put in a pot. Put a pinch of baking soda in the water. Get a 1 milliamp adapter. Cut the ends off. Put your alligator clips. Put your clip on your silver. Clip it onto your jar or hang it in there so they're not touching. And watch how fast that'll make you 1,000 parts per million very easily. We're making 1,300, 1,600 parts. I'll show you how to do it after the break.
Okay, we'll be right back in 3 minutes. today is Tony Pantalleresco. His website is augmentinforce.50webs.com. Okay, you were talking about colloidal silver and kind of laughed when I asked you about going out and buying a generator to make it. So go ahead and tell us how you would do this.
Get a TDS meter. This way you can measure your parts per million in the solution. And all you need basically is either 999 or 9999 silver. Make sure it's pure silver. Basically what you do is you could either hook up anywhere from 3 to 6 9-volt batteries and then run positive and negative, or get a 1 amp adapter. You can buy at any Value Village. Cut off the ends, add alligator clips to it, clip on your coins or your silver bars or silver rod, whatever you want to use. Boil some water, put it in a container, add your baking soda, probably about maybe a quarter of a teaspoon, mix it in there. Take a reading of the water with the baking soda, see what parts per million you're getting there, and then proceed to run a charge through the silver and let it sit there for 15-20 minutes, and then stop the meter, stop the charge, and then take another reading. You'd be surprised how quick that can make you a high potency silver.
Now, it's important that you use the right water, correct?
Distilled water, reverse osmosis. Don't use anything else. Don't use mineral water. Do not use any kind of spring water. You want pure water. You do not want any other contaminant in the water. You want it as clean as you can get it, because you're going to contaminate the water with silver particles. And then what you do afterwards, once you're done, put them in a dark jar and then use it. Do not use, because this is high strength stuff. I'm not a believer using colloidal silver at high strength on a daily basis, only as needed. If you get hit with a pathogen or some kind of infection, then definitely use it, but make sure you're also using high levels of vitamin A, vitamin E, and fats as well to help the body remove any silver overload that you might have. You will not turn blue. Like they got everybody afraid you're going to turn blue. Oh, that the Smurf guy that turned blue had copper in his silver. He's using silver spoons that had copper in it, and the copper is what turned him blue, not the silver.
I saw that guy in 2007 at a conference. He was really blue. Even his gums were blue. I mean, He was blue, blue, blue. If you had a choice between MMS or colloidal silver, which one would you choose?
For me, I probably I use iodine. I'm a bigger fan of iodine over the two of them.
Okay.
Lugo's iodine. I prefer that. I mean, there is no choice. I mean, honestly, it's whatever. MMS is a good product. Silver is a good product. It all depends what you have and what you have access to. I mean, I just showed you how to make silver. Mm-hmm. So the common guy who can't afford MMS or can't afford Lugo's iodine at 5%, he can make his own silver. So, or she can make his own their silver. So, and they all work. They will all do an adequate job of killing almost any pathogen that you're exposed to, whether it be microbial, pathogenic and viral, fungal, bacterial, even parasitical. I don't see a problem. If you can have all of them in stock on hand, I would encourage that. Because, some things will work really well with the silver, some things won't. Some things will work really well with the MMS, some things won't. And some things will work really well with the iodine, and some things won't. I like turpentine. I prefer turpentine over a lot of things. I use turpentine for a lot of things. I just came up with a simple salt remedy that pulls out some of the more gallons that's in the skin by using turpentine and salt. So, again, there's lots of things we have at our disposal. It's not about which is better, which works for you is the way you should be asking that question. What will work the best for you? And that's how you need to start thinking. Don't think in terms of the marketeering nonsense. Oh, this is the best product on the planet, and you need to buy this one because blah, blah, blah. It's what works.
Okay.
What's really going to work for you, what's really going to do the job. And don't go spending tons of dollars, zillions of dollars on hyperbole and nonsense. Get what you really need. Learn how to use it. It's all about learning proper usage as well.
Okay. I have an email question regarding turpentine. This is from Barb. She wants to know if you can use a turpentine poultice to treat spastic muscles and to break up a neuroma on the heel of your foot. If so, do you mix it with turpentine? How would you use turpentine? If you did use it, how would you do it for spastic muscles or neuroma?
Well, you can just rub it in. Massage it in. If it's too abrasive for you, then just cut it with peanut oil or lanolin. 1 ounce of turpentine to 4 ounces of your oil. Mix it up really well, and then just proceed to massage it into the area. It works really. It'll work either way. I've got people that rub it directly on their areas, and it does wonders for them. I've been using it with a salt, where you cook salt in a pan and you get it hot and you put it in a towel, washcloth kind of towel. You fold it over, and then you put turpentine on top of it, and then place the salt pack on the area. And it's amazing what that breaks up and what it will draw out of your system. We'll be doing a video on that eventually, so people can see how we do it, and then they can again take it and make it better. But yeah, just a simple application is all she needs to do with that.
Okay. The house across the street is still for sale if you're interested in relocating. What kind of help would you offer someone with diabetes?
What do they want to do?
Get better. If somebody is suffering from diabetes, what kind of nutritional advice would you give them?
Okay, first we'd heal the diabetes by regenerating the pancreas, repairing that, which is curable. I've got a herbal mixer. We show a video on how to make a diabetic tea that has a regenerating effect on the pancreas, and then taking 2 supplements, acetyl-L-carnitine with alpha-lipoic acid in conjunction. They must eliminate all soy products. There is no exception. They must eliminate all grain products. Again, no exception. This is what's causing the damage. No microwave cooking, no store-bought box bag canned garbage. They need to learn how to cook again. We've had people here. I had one guy come to the store, was on 23 drugs. He was diabetic. We got him off all the drugs, and his diabetes does no longer exist. What we did is we gave him that same tea that we showed on the video. We got him on the supplements. I'll tell you what happened with him. He was taking his insulin, and the best he could get his sugar down was 12.4. In Canada, it's slightly different in their measurements, and so the ideal is between 6 and 8. Anyway, when you got him on the supplements and the tea, he dropped him down to 5.4.
Wow.
Glycemic shock. He said he couldn't believe the effect. He said without the drug, so it can be done. It can be cured. It's a curable condition. It's not even a disease. Okay, it's a lot of nonsense. Basically, diabetes is a condition of gluttony. That's what it is. It's an overloading of the system. You're constantly being told to eat 5 meals a day and to eat all this carb crap, and what's happening is the pancreas is getting overloaded, the liver is getting overloaded, and you wind up breaking down. So when you give the pancreas like bitter melon and chlorella and juniper berry and cinnamon bark and ginseng and neem and peppermint and bay leaf, and you mix it in a tea, you start restoring the pancreas. And then when you start using the supplements like alpha-lipoic acid and acetyl-L-carnitine, that makes you more insulin sensitive, so your pancreas is not overworking. And we do give them a pancreatic enzyme to help take the load off the pancreas, so that while you're eating, you can digest your food, reducing the load on the pancreas. And we seem to see success with this. So, people do recover from this overloading of the body. It's all about genetics. Soy destroys the pancreas. Soy destroys the thyroid. Soy destroys the esophagus. It destroys the intestine. It must not be consumed. It should never have been put in the food supply in the first place. All this nonsense about how great and wonderful it was again a marketing ploy, because it's nothing but a food that, again, is destroys your insides. It literally drains your body of so many nutrients. It drains your body of calcium, magnesium, manganese, zinc, vitamin D. This is why so many you need vitamins. Iodine, B12, B2. Again, it's not something anybody should be using.
Alrighty, we are going to our top of the hour break. We will be back at 6 minutes after the hour.
tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Spingola Speaks. Our guest today is Tony Pantelleresco. His website is augmentinforce.50webs.com. We do have some questions from the chat room and from emails. What are your views on hydrogen peroxide?
It's another one of those high-end, high-powered things. Just make sure when you do use it, do not mix it with anything for at least 2 hours either way. Do not take anything with. Do not take it with any green leafy vegetables or anything red, because it will oxidize the iron in the stomach, causing rust. So you must take that on an empty stomach. You can mix it with aloe vera. You can mix it with apple sauce if you want. By all means, use it. I mean, it has benefits. It will oxygenate the system. You might want to take vitamin C not with it directly, but during the day, take vitamin C and copper with it to reduce any of the peroxals that may occur from using peroxide, because it will leave peroxide is a pro-oxidant and an antioxidant at the same time. So it can produce free radicals as well. So this is where the vitamin C and the copper, like chlorophyll, can come in to reduce that effect. But yeah, use it.
Okay. What are your thoughts on colonics or enemas?
They have their place. I wouldn't do colonics all the time, because your body will adjust to that and stop using. But there are times when you do need to pull stuff out. I mean, we are being loaded with high levels of chemtrails and polymers, so they do get trapped into the system. So they have their merit in helping flushing a lot of the excesses out. I use sodium thiosulfate with ascorbic acid. I've done it for a 4-week time frame, and that flushed out just about anything there was. My eyes actually went white. There was nothing left. So I mean, they have their purpose. I mean, if you're doing a colonic, try to find a place that what they do is they reforest. In other words, they will reinsert healthy bacteria into the lower GI. Because once they flush you out, you're left vulnerable until your body has a chance to restore the proper bacteria back in the lower end. I would encourage that if you're going to have it done, because a lot of you are not eating properly to begin with, and a lot of you have some ideas about eating that isn't accurate, because again, this is what you've been taught based on whatever guru you're listening to or whatever health food hyperbole is being sold at the moment. So again, I mean, when you do get a colonic going, you want to definitely reload your body up with healthy bacterial cultures. You're probably looking at 50 billion or higher. I've seen in the health food stores now they have as high as 400 billion strain. So again, anytime you're doing something like that, you want to definitely reload your lower GI.
Otherwise, you could pick up something like C. diff or some other crazy bacteria.
It's something else, yeah. I mean, like I said, people have this idea that they can go and get a colonic, flush out the system, and then go back to eating whatever junk they're eating, right? And so what you've done is, instead of putting the healthy bacteria back in the system, you're putting bad bacteria back in again, especially if you're eating the grains, which is putting back genetically modified organisms back into the colon. So it's sort of counterproductive, because people think that they can go get Ezekiel bread, or they can go get a whole wheat or a whole rye, and they think it's okay. And these things, Ezekiel bread has soy in it, which is GMO'd. And you got a lot of, all the grains are all GMO. There's not one that isn't. And when it tells you that they got an orgasmically organic GMO product, then basically it's another one of those hyperbole sales. Like I don't know if I mentioned on this broadcast, but if you go look at the video Seeds of Death on YouTube, they will say to you what I have been saying for the last 15 years. There is no such thing as a non-GMO anything. Once you plant GMO in a field, conventional or organic is now growing GMO.
Right. People shouldn't be eating any grains at all. That includes rice.
Rice, sorghum, quinoa, amaranth, wheat, barley, oat, none of it. It's not what everyone still has this idea because they see this idea as some wholesome video or wholesome advertisement about these grains. And in reality, the real truth behind it, that's the facade to sell you a product so you buy this stuff. But it's not, there's no merit to these things. They're using...
What about buckwheat?
Same thing. If it's grown in the field, I mean, there's no safe grain. None. I've got in my scripts, I've got there also a Canadian scientist that worked with the genetics as well. He has said the same thing I have said. There is no such thing as a safe grain. None.
Okay. What are your views on an infrared, a near infrared or far infrared pad that you would put on your bed to sleep on at night? What are your views on that?
I've never used it, but I can see the merit to it. I mean, it'll penetrate into the cells. If you added salt to it, that would be really good because then the salt would detoxify as well more effectively. I've been into infrared beds where you lay there for 45 minutes and they treat you. I didn't really see a whole lot there with it, but then again, I mean, I may need to have repeated the process before anything happens because of the nature of what I'm dealing with, but they will have merit. I mean, anything has merit. I don't know really what people would expect from that. Like I said, myself, I've not really used these things to make a real adequate judgment one way or the other.
Okay. I got an email question. What about cross-carmellose sodium? I don't know what that is, but
that's a binding agent in the vitamins. Again, that's a polymer. Avoid it.
Okay. Alrighty. Can we take some calls? Let's take a call. Let's take Rebecca in Ohio.
Hello.
Hello. Go ahead.
I want to share with you all some of my experiences with turpentine. My family opened a hardware store in 1947, and I recall my father and my grandfather around winter time, early fall, would rub turpentine on their throats and their chests and go to sleep and to ward off colds. But since I heard Tony the last time, I thought, I'm going to do this. So I got online and found pure gum spirits of turpentine from a Diamond G Forest Products. It is not the byproduct of the pulp and paper industry type turpentine. I mean, it's pure gum rosin right from the tree. And I've taken it for 14 days, and wow, what a detox. I mean, you will go like a goose. And a lot of us have, a little bit of that protruding belly fat. Well, it's going away. I mean, I've got a friend that's 68 years old, and she was born and raised in the hills of Kentucky, and she and I are doing this. I mean, Deanna, we can all kinds of chard and kale. I mean, we home can it. Beets, turnips. We make sauerkraut, and we just laugh about all the old-time remedies. But one thing she does with hydrogen peroxide is she keeps a spray bottle with pure hydrogen peroxide by her bed, and she has nail fungus like you do when you get older, and she sprays that on her feet and her fingernails, her toenails, and it's gone too. So that's a natural cure for that. But this turpentine...
Tony, what are your views, sir?
All she has to do is just, for the woman that's got the fungus, just put the turpentine on it. Don't knock it out and keep it out. Make sure she's not eating any grains, because that's what's causing the fungal overgrowth. Yeah, peroxide, I mean, it has, like I said, it has what we're talking here is high-end, old-tech stuff that works. Okay, chlorine works as well. You've been told about the taboo of chlorine, but if I was in the middle of the bush and I was going to drink water, I would take 1 or 2 drops of chlorine, put it in a glass, pour the water, and let it sit for 15 minutes, and then I would drink it, because then I know the chlorine would have killed everything. So in small, minute amounts, it has a very effect. That's what MMS is. It's a type of chlorine.
Ah, yes, that's true. Okay. Rebecca, thank you for your phone call and your information. Be right back in 3 minutes. Tony Pantelleresco. His website is augmentinforce.50webs.com. The email that I read to you from Barb, in it, she said that she listened to you for 6 hours straight and was going to go back and re-listen. I mean, she was just really, really excited about the information that you were giving her, and I know that other people are just delighted to have found you. And well, I am too. I'm I really, really appreciate what you're doing. What are your thoughts on oil of oregano?
I don't use it. I prefer thyme. Thyme is stronger. It's a good product. I don't knock it. I don't bash it. I mean, it's one of the few out there that actually does something. I mean, I show you how to make your own oil of oregano in one of my videos as well. I don't believe you should be having to spend $45 and $50 for a half ounce or an ounce bottle of this stuff. I mean, when you can make it very easily. All this is just a fusion of olive oil with the essential oil of oregano. And you can do the same thing with thyme. You can do the same thing with rosemary. You can do the same thing with sage, savory. I mean, you can do the same thing. And it's a very simple procedure as well. One guy did it. I start people off when they show them how to do the stuff on a very low end. One guy did it. He put 80 drops of the essential oil of oregano with 1 ounce of olive oil to get the same effect that he was spending $70 for at a health food store. So I show people how to get around it. You got to remember, Agenda 21 is here. It's been here. We started these videos 5 years ago. Agenda 21 was a whisper. I knew it was coming, being in this industry. I've seen how this industry has been devolving. And so basically what we did there was we were just showing you how to circumvent these high costs, unnecessary costs in the health food industry. The health food industry has been taken over more or less by your drug industry. So you are now winding up with bastardized products, convoluted products, even stuff that's put into these things now that should never been put into them. Propylene glycol, polymers, soy, yellow coloring agents, red coloring. I mean, the bodybuilding section of the health food industry has got to be the most polluted section of the whole thing. When they sell these pills and they put aluminum lake number 2, number 4, they're putting aluminum in these products. These guys are buying these things thinking, oh, I'm buying this steroid-like component. It's going to give me bigger muscles and make me more erotic and tighter this. And then they're selling women, and the same thing with women. I got bigger breasts and tighter backside. And yet they've got all kinds of contaminants and polymers in these things and nano metals. And this is in the bodybuilding section of the health food industry. I always tell people, go take a walk on the wild side and read the labels. And this is the part of walking on the wild side, reading the labels. And because they'll see a bodybuilding magazine, they'll perpetrate some supplement, and you got this guy with these big muscles or this gal that's ripped to shreds, and I took this product, and these guys are on steroids, all of them. I've dealt with these guys firsthand. They don't use a lot of these products. They endorse them because they make big bucks in endorsing these products. So, I mean, even the protein powders. I knew one guy said they don't eat that crap. He says they eat real chicken, and they're eating every 2.5 hours because they're on 7 stacks of steroids. And this is what they're advocating as healthy today. So a lot of people get into this illusion, spending big dollars on contaminated protein products or contaminated supplements that have anabolic effects. And when you read the components, they've got all these metals and coloring agents in them that get lodged into the tissues and into the cells. And then what winds up happening is 10, 20 years down the road, you've got a cancer, you've got something going on because this stuff has accumulated, or even in 5 years, a lot of these guys break down, or gals. So again, take a walk on the wild side there and read labels, because it's really important that you start understanding what you're spending these big bucks on.
Sure.
And a lot of stuff that's not going to do more for you than if you can get unpasteurized milk and an egg, farm-raised eggs, and you mix them together and add a little wheat germ oil to them and some iodine, you will find that your muscles will grow like crazy. You will have power galore, and it costs you next to nothing. That's one of the reasons why you can't get unpasteurized milk, because they know how healthy it is for you.
Wow.
Okay? So trust me, milk and honey. Remember your statement? Milk and honey?
Yes.
Couldn't get a better deal if it's unpasteurized honey and unpasteurized milk, and you put them together with a little egg, blend that together. You can give that to your kid. Your kids will be as strong as horses, and they'll be as smart as they're supposed to be. But all this crap they're selling them, get your omega-3, get this fish oil. You don't need it.
Okay. Now, where do you buy your essential oils? Where do you get them?
I got a company down in Arizona, HerbsStopOnline. These are really good people. They get good stuff. They get their stuff from Europe and again from the Baltic region. I know their oils. They're good quality oils. Sometimes I get stuff from the Now brand or the Acacia, depending on what it is. A lot of your citrus oils, it really doesn't matter where you buy those from. A lot of your woody oils, like your peppermint family, again, it doesn't really matter where you get those from. But when you start talking more elaborate oils, then you want to get them from reputable source, more reputable than them, because you don't know from these guys if they're diluting them. I mean, now if you go buy myrrh or even chamomile, I find that they're diluted, which I find amazing. But again, I go there because she's got really good oils. When I was living in Alberta for a while, there was a lady there that was buying my stuff from there because she was getting it from the same area, and she died, so then I lost a good source. But down in Arizona, HerbsStopOnline. I tell people go there and get the stuff there all the time.
Okay, HerbsStop.com?
HerbsStopOnline.com, yeah.
Okay. All righty, we have another caller. Let's take Jerry in Chicago. Jerry, welcome.
Hello. Oh, hello, Deanna and Tony. Thank you for taking my call. Tony, I've been a fan of yours since the last time you were on Deanna's show. I think I've seen all your videos and taken notes.
Okay, thank you.
And when I mention this turpentine to friends and family, they roll their eyes like they're going to be in 6 feet under tomorrow morning if they try it. So all I tell them is, hey, watch. Hey, I was calling for my brother's mother-in-law. She's got lupus. What do you suggest for that?
An old-fashioned remedy would be yucca. Basically, anything that has a saponin content to it, yucca, sarsaparilla. Basically, what it is, what she's probably got is an overload of polymers in her body and metals, and the immune system is attacking these things, so it's attacking the system. So she needs to flush this stuff out. Anything that's going to help cleanse the blood is again recommended. A beaten wine tonic that I show, the cleaning and juicing greens that I show on the YouTube as well. Anything that's going to help flush and renew the blood, anything that's going to produce a soap-like material to wash the stuff out of the system. Lauric acid, monolauric acid will help with this as well, because coconut produces also saponin-like material. Look up the term saponin, S-A-P-O-N-I-N. You'll find yucca is very high in this. They'll call it a steroidal saponin. But basically what it is, it has anti-inflammatory properties, but it also has an element to wash out or flush out this buildup of material that maybe we have accumulated. Have her do salt baths, taking a saline bath with baking soda, borax, Epsom salt, trisodium phosphate, either regular table salt, put about a quarter cup of each, and then add a cap, C-A-P, of turpentine, mix it really well in the water. So if she puts a cup in there, her genitals will be on fire. Just a cap. Ow. Yeah. I've had that happen. I told people to put a cap in, they put a cup in. Well, needless to say, both men and women had flaming genitals. So again, don't do this.
Goodness.
Okay, so anyway, a cap, mix it up, and have her sit and soak in this, and this too will help disperse and flush out of the cells any buildup. She may see polymers floating. She may see fibers floating. Give it a go.
Yikes.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jerry. We're going to a 3-minute break. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Tony Pantalleresco. His website is augmentinforce.50webs.com. We do have another caller, I believe. Yes, John in New York.
Hey, Tony, how you doing?
Good, yourself?
Oh, not too bad. Okay, I'm going to hit you with one here. what's a remedy for genital herpes?
Go to Walmart, take your genitals out, trade them in for new ones. No more genital herpes. You're going to need iodine.
Okay.
To regenerate your system. You're going to need zinc. Usually genital herpes is a zinc deficiency.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why you have these things is because of a lack of zinc in the system, so you might want to restore the zinc. You may want to put zinc oxide on the area, again, to disperse the issues there. If you have an outbreak with these things, you can use a salt pack around the area with a turpentine and salt. Basically, you cook the salt in a pan. Once you get it hot, then you put it in a cloth, wrap the cloth up. You want to put a dropper full of iodine and some turpentine and then go around the area. It will be hot, so be careful with it. And what it'll do is it'll drive into the area, the turpentine and the iodine. And it'll kill the virus, literally. So again, put it around and start incorporating more zinc and selenium in your system as well. And again, maintain proper hygiene in the area. Keep it clean. Then build up your immune system so that you can fight it off. Lysine and zinc are the things you want to use for this as well internally. Using iodine as well internally will help, again, boost your immune system's capacity to fight this and get rid of it. It is a curable thing as well. It's just an affliction, nothing more. So treat it as such. Don't get caught up on the boogeyman concept, what I call the boogeyman concept, where the drug industry says, oh, it's incurable, it's this, it's that. These guys couldn't hide their shoe was Velcro, and they do not want to cure something so simple. So keep that in mind.
So, iodine, zinc, and selenium.
And selenium and lysine. You want to make sure you incorporate these into your system. Minimize any arginine in the system because arginine can exasperate this. But you want high doses of lysine, high doses of zinc. Well, not high doses. Let's say 30 to 60 to 90 milligrams of either zinc citrate or zinc methionine. You want to definitely use high levels of vitamin C, about 5 to 10 grams a day, and then do that salt pack that I mentioned, and watch that start to disappear.
All righty. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
All righty. Given that at least 900,000 people a year die as a result of allopathic medical intervention, I want to share with you a question from email. And I quote, "He sounds like he's knowledgeable, but what are his qualifications? Tell us you're not an MD, for one. That would raise your value quite a bit."
I'm just the guy who knows some stuff.
As you advertise, right?
That's what I advertise. I don't make no claims. I'm a herbalist. I'm basically, I guess, what you'd call an orthomolecular herbalist. I use vitamins and I use herbs. And I use essential oils and food in helping people find solutions. I have no medical background whatsoever. I do not want a medical background. I'm not certified, nor do I wish to be certified. I've been doing this for 35 years. I'm not interested in being part of a system that controls and regulates these so-called healers. I'm not into marketing or bamboozling anybody. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm trying to show you how to get around things. I'm not one of these gurus that walk around and sells you nonsense products that don't do anything for you. I'm not interested in that. As a matter of fact, I get approached. You have no idea how many times I get approached daily to get involved with MLMs, which I abhor to no end. I find MLMs are the worst cons going most of the time. They got overpriced products that you can buy at any health food store for about 1/3 or 2/3 of the cost less. A lot of stuff that they sell in MLMs. There are a few good companies, few good products in an MLM, but I really hate the way they do things. I'm a big fan of transfer factors. I think that's a good idea. Unfortunately, it's being controlled by an MLM company, which I find distasteful, the way they do things. So I don't advocate. If you can find a transfer factor product without getting involved with an MLM, I would encourage you to do so, because transfer factors is derived from colostrum, which actually teaches your body how, or egg membrane cells as well, which actually teaches your body how to fight off different pathogens. But unfortunately, I have not found a independent company where you can buy this stuff from. Unfortunately, they are coming through an MLM, which again, I do not care for.
Okay. You mentioned colostrum. Would you recommend the liquid or in capsules, or would you recommend the capsules, but you take the powder out of the capsules and put it into your water?
Whatever form or fashion you want to use it, it's all good. I mean, colostrum's a good product.
Okay.
I buy it in powder form and I just scoop it out when I do get it. If you can get it from a farmer that's from a farmer, like I said, that's not getting hormones in your local area, I'd say go get it, like your Amish or your Mennonite or Hutterites. If they're getting any colostrum, I encourage you to go buy it from them. But yeah, definitely use it. Use it. I don't have a problem how you get it. I mean, sometimes just getting it in you. Just try to make sure it is chemical free, contaminant free, doesn't have soy in it, doesn't have coloring agents, things of this nature.
Okay, and that helps to boost your immune system, correct?
Colostrum does a lot of things for you. It'll increase growth hormone response, so it helps your body regenerate. It's a muscle builder. Again, it helps your body become more resistant to being sick. Definitely will increase your stamina. And again, for people who are suffering on the sexual side, it can help in that area as well.
Okay. What about L-glutamine powder? Is that pretty good stuff to take?
It is, but you got to make sure you're taking taurine with it. Glutamine is the most abundant amino acid in your body. It lines your esophageal lining, your intestinal walls, and your stomach. It breaks down to 5 different aminos. It's a good product. I mean, again, I mean, if you have a need for it, if your digestive system or your esophageal lining has been compromised because you've been eating soy or a lot of grains, it definitely would tell you to use it. A cheap form of it is cottage cheese. So if you're getting enough cottage cheese, you can get enough glutamine through that. But definitely, yeah, it has its merit.
Okay. How would a person go about curing hepatitis C?
Same thing. Go to Walmart, take the liver out, give them your old one, get a new one. No more hepatitis C.
Okay. Now tell us the real way of doing this.
That would work, you know.
Okay. I don't think Walmart sells those yet.
Well, I'm sure they sell everything else. Hepatitis C is what is it? It's a viral infection. So basically, you're using things to regenerate and restore the liver and kill the virus. So again, we got a formula that we've used. We use the Queen of Hungary formula. I've given people a formula. We're using 5 herbs, Foti, which is a Chinese herb, goji berry, schizandra berry, and Romania root. I'm mixing as a tea or an extract, and something called Dan Shen, which is basically red sage root, which will rebuild the liver. And you know what? I've seen people use this stuff, and then the hepatitis goes away all by itself. Again, it's the boogeyman complex. These are nothing more than what they are. They're just afflictions. They're viral infections. And they're usually a result or direct result of a deficiency that's in your body. Because so many of you have been eating all this bloody soy and these grains, these have caused the deficiencies to occur in the system. Soy, like I said, bleeds out of your body zinc and manganese. Well, the guy just called before. What did he was talking about herpes. Well, there you go. There's your zinc and manganese right out the door. What does zinc and manganese do? They produce something called SOD in the mitochondria, superoxide dismutase, which protects the body from these type of infections. Also knocks out your iodine levels. Okay, knocks off your B12. Where's B12 found? In the liver. Okay, so also found in the colon. Knocks off your B2. What does B2 do? It helps support L-glutathione. This is what pulls it out. So anybody that tells you they're eating a fermented soy product, they're crazy. You know, literally, they are nuts. And anyone who's in what they call a vegan lifestyle in today's times, in my humble opinion, are nuts. For a short interim, for like a 2 or 3 month interim to clean up the system, has benefit. But to live that way, in my humblest opinion, because I've seen so many of these vegans break down and they come to me afterwards and I get them eating eggs and lamb, and all of a sudden they feel like Superman again. Again, it's an absurdity. It's about balance. Okay, the taurine is one amino acid you cannot get from eating vegetables. You have to have some form of meat in it. Your body can produce it, but then again, it strains the system from producing this inside. So if you're going to be a vegetarian where you're eating eggs and cottage cheese and yogurt and dairy products like this, or even fish, I don't see a problem with that. That's not a bad way of doing it.
All righty. We are going to a quick 3-minute break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Deanna. Our guest today is Tony Pantalleresco. His website is augmentinforce.50webs.com. What are your views about bee pollen?
It has its merits, but I think today you got to be careful with the genetics and with the ongoing exposure to different things. Not sure what else to tell you on it. I mean, it was considered a good food at one point in time. If you got a reputable farmer that isn't spraying, then I would use it. It would probably be mixed with the honey anyway, just like with the propolis. I'm a bigger fan of the propolis over the pollen, but again, it does have merit, but you got to be careful today because of the nature of what they're spraying in the fields and what the bees may be picking up.
Absolutely. All righty, let's take another caller. Let's take Craig from Ontario. Craig, welcome.
Hi, Deanna. Thanks for taking my call. Hey, Tony, got a quick question for you. Teenage daughter with severe acne. It's not hormonal, so it's always there. Went to a naturopath. They put her on the gluten-free, the dairy-free. It hasn't eliminated it. Maybe cut down by about maybe 15%. And then the naturopath would be okay with her putting on topical antibiotics, which I'm not a fan of. Any recommendations?
Get her on iodine. How old is she again?
She's 17.
Okay, get her on iodine, get her on zinc, and copper. Sounds like she's deficient in these minerals, and I'd have her using MSM to clean out the colon. I wouldn't even give her the gluten-free crap. That stuff's just nonsense all the way around. Any grain you're giving her is going to create a pathogenic material. It's all genetically modified, whether it's gluten-free or not. Gluten has been the boogeyman that everybody has been beaten up on, and it's not gluten at all. It never was gluten. Gluten has ever been the issue. It's all because of the way they've hybrided the grains or they genetically altered the grains, and they've created a proline or a glutamate overload in the grain. The gluten is not the issue.
You got to wonder, when it gets so high profile in the regular media.
Yeah, again, gluten was never the problem. I wouldn't give her any grain whatsoever because of the fact it's all genetically engineered. I mean, we had a scientist here in Ontario that worked with the agribusiness, and it's in one of my scripts of the show, and he stated the same thing I've stated. There is not a grain anywhere to be consumed that has some sort of genetic adulteration, and that's what's causing the problems. So again, don't even get her on that gluten-free crap. No cereals, no pasta, no rice, none of that crap. You get her on things like cottage cheese. You get her on things like yogurt with bacterial cultures, high strains of bacteria. You make sure she's getting zinc in her diet, iodine, and copper through chlorophyll. That's what will do more for her as far as fighting this, and get her on high levels of MSM, about 20 grams a day, a teaspoon 4 times a day, in divided doses, and this should clear up a lot of that. Once you eliminate all the grains in her diet, that's when the stuff will start to go, and it still may take up to 3 months before you see any results because this stuff collects in the colon and starts to grow and take over.
Right. I just want to follow up with a secondary question. Earlier you were talking about chemtrails, and we're getting sprayed like crazy here in southwestern Ontario. And I remember reading an article on the web by this reputable person was saying that cell phone towers have way, way more potential wattage output than required for the small cell signal. And he was kind of echoing what you're saying, is that they can take these signals and, at will, turn it on and just give us a little zap or whatever, knowing that we're full of all these nanoparticles.
Definitely. I mean, how many times have you gone through your day and all of a sudden you're blanked out? You had a thought in your mind, you were focusing on doing something, and all of a sudden, for one brief moment, you've lost all frame of thought. Completely, you're like, what the heck am I doing here? What? And then all of a sudden it comes back to you in about 5 minutes because your brain just got scrambled by a pulse. You know, and this goes on all the time. You know, and again, you're in your own home. You know, you got these stupid cell phones attached to you, and they're pulsing you all the time. And again, they've got monitoring devices, so they can even turn them on without you being aware of, listening in on your conversations. You're in your home, and you've got your Wi-Fi going. You got towers around you. They're harping, dropping more metals in the air, and then when they turn these things on, you know, all of a sudden you go blank. Why do you think that happens? You know, because of the fact that we are become transceivers, living transceivers. So again, this is why I always tell people use about 20 grams of MSM on a daily basis to help pull out some of these metals that you're accumulating in the colon and throughout the system, because it is the key that has chelating agents as well. Iodine also breaks down aluminum and mercury. This is some things you might want to consider. Using magnesium and calcium will also flush out aluminum in the system. So, I mean, using saturated fat to maintain cellular integrity in the body and for the brain as well. I mean, again, you'll find that this will offset a lot of these things. Turn off those cell phones when you don't need them. You know, I mean, I was in Calgary, Alberta the other day, and everybody's walking around with a bloody cell phone. I'm thinking, geez, we've become idiots here. You know, complete robotize the city is what they've done. So, again, you know, well, I was just there the other day, okay? I left here to go back out there to do a workshop kind of thing, and I'm walking down the street, and every time you turn around, whether you're in the subway, whether everyone's got their cell phone, they're texting and doing all that, and they don't realize that, okay, while they're on the subway, they're being hit with an electromagnetic field, they got this thing going on, and their cells are just being jolted left, right, and center. And, you know, to try to have a conversation with some people, you can't, you know, they're like in a total different, they've been disassociated from reality and connected to the cell phone, and this is what's going on.
Alrighty.
Thanks. Thanks, Greg.
Bye-bye.
And I certainly agree with you on the cell phone. I don't use mine at all. No, I don't use it at all, really.
I don't even have one.
I bought one. I think I bought a Motorola when they first came out. They were huge, big things. It was like $500. It was just amazing. But no, I don't use my cell phone. I have one.
I don't even have one. I don't even want one. I mean, the way I look at it, I don't need to be that attached to the world. I mean, you can get a hold of me through the computer, you can get a hold of me through a telephone, you can get a hold of me through Skype, you can get a hold of me through Magic Jack. And once I leave the technology, I walk away. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to be buzzed, tingled, jingled, sparked, you know, frequenced, nothing. I just want to have a break from it. So, and I think people need to have, again, they're so addicted to this technology that they need to realize that you've got to cut themselves loose from it because it's taking over.
Sure. Literally. Well, I just have one. I keep it next to my loaded gun, next to my side of the bed, so that if they cut my phone lines to come in and get me, I can call the police and say that I'm being attacked and I'm worried for my life and that I'm going to shoot. That's it.
The police are probably the ones attacking you.
Either way, I'm going to use it for, to notify somebody.
You got a gun, so that's all you need, really. That's a persuader. Yep. I seriously believe everybody in Canada, United States, should own at least 3 guns and a bazooka. I really do. I really do, honestly, to shoot down the drones. They're flying over us. That's to take a bazooka. And a gun basically as a deterrent, because you know what? Every place I lived in Arizona, and I loved Phoenix. Phoenix was awesome. Everybody had the right to carry, and the crime rate was nothing. It was next to nothing. Then you go to places like Detroit where they regulated the gun control to death, and you got one of the highest crime rates. And I'm thinking, okay, here you got guns running free, no crime. Here you got no guns, crime is up. So what's wrong? What's up with this? What's up with this?
Same thing with Chicago.
Same
thing with Chicago. You get a lot of murders in Chicago, and they regulate guns there.
You know what? I think seriously, and I'm not kidding. I mean, I'm not. All kidding aside, everyone should own a bazooka, take out a drone, or a tank, whichever. And I think everyone should have a gun. I really do, because I think seriously, this would be the best deterrent to keep any government in check.
Yes.
Not to be used against each other, because I think that would be stupid, but I think to keep the governments balanced so that when you actually vote, your vote will actually count, because now these guys will have to give an account, but by them taking away your capacity to be armed or having any kind of capacity at all. They can do whatever they want.
Exactly. Well, we need to have you back. There are a lot of questions that we didn't get answered, and so I hope that you will join us again soon.
Just invite me. We'll see what we can do.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You have a good day, eh? Thanks for having me on.
You too. Bye-bye.